Hello, you wonderful people. My name is Jyoti. Some call me Jyoti Ma. I'm a grandma. I'm sitting here on the sacred territory of the Pomo peoples and the coastal Miwok, surrounded by beautiful redwoods in Northern California. So I just want to take a moment and really honor the ancestors of this land where I'm sitting on. And I'm thankful that the grandmas have come together here, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and their line of prayer to you when they come forward. And I love to kind of watch the synchronicities of things. So as I'm getting ready for a webinar or a presentation like this, then I try to listen carefully, and there was a video that just came in through my email that really gave for me a moment to really focus us and ground us in what the Mother Earth is needing right now. So if we can proceed that way, I thank Grandma Ivy because she's there with her fire going for us, and Grandpa is listening. So Margine, if you could share this video right now, it'll be part of what my prayer is about this morning with the grandmas around the fire.
What does it mean to be human? We're living in a time called the Anthropocene era, a time when humans shape the earth. We are a powerful, creative, inventive, and destructive species. Through our carelessness, we have instigated a sixth mass extinction. But we're also an integral part of life on this planet. And we're fragile. It's getting late, but there is still time.
Urkumanda Shamuni, Urkumanda Shamuni, Urkumanda Shamuni, Yakumanda Shamuni, Kuchamanda Shamuni, Yakumanda Shamuni.
When people think about tropical forests and indigenous lands, they think it's over there. And when they think about indigenous people, they think it's over there, it's somewhere other. That's because we haven't got joined up thinking. We haven't understood that the rainforests provide the rain for so much of the planet. The rainforests stabilize the weather for so much of the planet. So those rainforests over there are helping to protect our weather systems, and therefore our food, and therefore our families and everything that we love. And therefore those indigenous people over there are also protecting everything that we lead and we love where we are. That's what's broken down our understanding of the interconnectedness of all things. But more than that, those indigenous peoples all around the world are holding a particular consciousness that locks into place right relationship with the land. Human relationship is actually fundamental, and that's what the Kogi say, that's what many indigenous tribes say, not that we're just some parasite. They were actually also part of nature in fundamental relationship with her. And how we relate is crucial to how this all unfolds. And we need to be taught, again, how to relate. And that teaching, that comes straight from the indigenous people of this planet.
Crecer en la selva, yo creo que se crece en libertad, hasta que uno no lo sabe en ese momento. Porque puedes estar corriendo, puedes ver cómo pescan, puedes ver cómo viene la cacería, te enseñan cómo relacionarte con la naturaleza, pero al mismo tiempo a nosotros nos encantaba jugar en el río, nadar en el río, nos encantaba jugar a las escondidas en los matorrales, subir a los árboles y a comer los frutos. Yo tenía miedo de subir, pero sí era la que me quedaba abajo comiendo los frutos de lo que cogían los demás niños. Entonces mi vida ha cambiado radicalmente. De la niña Patricia, que era llena de ilusiones y de cantos, ahora me di cuenta de los peligros que implica para los pueblos indígenas y para el territorio, las industrias extractivas, las empresas y toda la injusticia que viven los pueblos indígenas con respecto a su derecho y toda la injusticia que tienen los bosques a raíz de la destrucción que generan y la contaminación. Soy una mujer que defiende los derechos, que no le gusta la injusticia y que de alguna manera aprendí de mis padres a ver mucho más allá de lo que pasa.
What we damage in one place affects the ecosystems elsewhere. We must restore balance, and we must do it now.
We are at the tipping point. And it's going to take everything we have. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take our internal understanding and the grief that we have and the rage that we have when we wake up to what we've done. And then coming together as a global community to shift this. The indigenous hold wisdoms and understandings of how to be that way. We know that they live in harmony. They actually make the land around them better. We need to do that. Otherwise, we're gone.
Human rights will not be enough to protect us if the land that we depend upon is ravaged beyond all hope of repair. In our attempts to create wealth and stability through industrialization, we have allowed terrible, irreparable damage to be done to Earth's ecosystems. It is happening right now.
One of the last hotspots of biodiversity on our planet, in the headwaters of the Amazon, the Chinese mining company Exxon are building tailings dams on the edge of collapse. Toxic waste would flow down the waterways of the upper Amazon basin, irredeemably polluting and killing all life. Irredeemable, not possible to repair. As the rainfall falls on these polluted river valleys, then that rainfall is also polluted with heavy metals, with cyanide, with mercury, with arsenic, and with sulfuric acid. And we start a bioaccumulation of these poisons throughout the environment, throughout the flora and fauna, with the slow cancerous death spreading deep into the lungs of the world, the Amazon jungle. The potential of this catastrophe is the potential of the greatest catastrophe that we have seen on this planet. This ecocide needs to be taken on as criminality. We have the indigenous people fighting for our lives, our culture, our ability to maintain our positions in our lands against the power of money.
Para el mundo que estamos hablando mucho del cambio climático, eso queremos salvar, ese cambio climático definiendo el bosque que tenemos en nuestra comunidad, en nuestro territorio sano. El bosque es como muy hermoso, tenemos mucho carbono, eso hay que protegerlo para el mundo, para el mundo y la planeta queremos proteger. Nosotros somos defensores del territorio, defensores del pulmón del planeta que es el bosque y el territorio.
Nosotros somos los defensores de la línea de frente, pero también es responsabilidad de todos ustedes involucrarse en esta lucha. No porque están en ciudades grandes, en países industrializados, están salvos de este problema, están libres de responsabilidad. Ustedes tienen igual de responsabilidad que nosotros. No piensen que los pueblos indígenas tenemos una lucha aislada, solo por los derechos de los pueblos indígenas. Es una lucha por la vida del planeta, por sus hijos, por su familia y por ustedes. Así que involúcrenos, solidaricen, apóyennos y luchemos todos para defender esta madre tierra.
We need to turn the tide. We need a new law, an international criminal law. We need a law of ecocide.
You really care about this world, whether you can feel it or not. We've been taught to be numbed off from it, but it's not a truth. Deep down, underneath all the conditioning that we have had, pushed into us so that we are severed from everything that matters is the deepest love you will ever feel. And that is the love that Polly Higgins was calling up in each of us when she was saying, we have to make it law to protect our world, to wake us up to the reality that protecting life on Earth is all that matters, so that we can make that shift and then have every single thing that we do start to work towards the regeneration of life, the restoration of the natural world, the recreation of a future that matters, as if our children matter because they do, as if our world matters because she does, because she is everything that we love and everything that we need. And that love and that determination is inside every single one of us.
We would be operating from a system of deep care on every decision-making process. It would be really quite remarkable. Do you imagine what this world would look like?
Urkumanda Shamuni, Urkumanda Shamuni, Urkumanda Shamuni, Yakumanda Shamuni, Kuchamanda Shamuni, Yakumanda Shamuni.
So with that seed of thought planted so deeply in every single one of us, I just want to offer this short prayer to really hold it in a sacred way. So Mother, Father, God, spirits of the four directions, those above us and below us, and those working through us, I give great thanks. For the hand of the ancestor that is on every shoulder here to guide us, connecting us to the roots of who we are, and shining the light on where we're going, I give great thanks. We are listening, Mother Earth, we are listening. People are awakening. We are awakening individually, and as we do, that consciousness is waking those around us, and as that consciousness wakens, there is a community awakening around us. There is a globe awakening around us. There is a network of light workers standing up in this very moment, awake and listening. We are listening, Mama Earth. We are listening to those that have brought your prophecies, that have carried a line from the original times to stand here with us now. They have come through so many trials and challenges, but they came through with a line unbroken from those original times, and they're here now to guide us in the weaving of our new day. Our new day has dawned, and for this Creator, I give thanks. For communities like World of Wisdom that are starting to form around the planet, they are part of the instrument of that awakening. And for those that have gathered to do so, I give thanks. I know in your generosity of heart and wisdom that you are bringing us on a path where we can unite as all peoples, as part of this creation, remembering our connectedness and coming home to the people and the authenticity of who we are. Our humanity is arising with the Mother Earth as she moves into her ascension. And for this, we give great thanks. We give great thanks. We give great thanks. So with that, our fire is open. And I want to pass the talking stick now to my sister, Loretta, Afraid of Bear Cook. Thank you, sis, for being here this morning. I am excited to weave our prayers together around this fire and provide an opening for what may want to pour through it. Can you introduce yourself? Thank you.
Jyoti, thank you for this opportunity to offer a word of prayer and a thanksgiving. My name is Ompetu Lutawi, which means I do things in the light of the daytime. And so for very many years, I've been taught that anything of great importance starts at the beginning, and that is a minute after midnight, we have an opportunity to offer our prayers. They say between the hours of 1 and 4 o'clock in the morning of every day, it's a time of reverence put there for the Great Spirit. And so anything that you can say and do and offer and ritualize and ceremonialize, these things are going to be in that manner, the way that you want it. So the intention is always there. You have the intention, you offer the prayer around that intention, and you imbue all that you hold necessary and all that you hold important in that intention. Then you offer the prayer. And then because we have belief that that's the way it's going to be, we offer a prayer of thanksgiving. We don't put it off till it happens and then you do it. You always want to believe that everything that you're asking and saying and praying for will be that way. So you offer the thanksgiving at the very end of each prayer. And I think perhaps our brothers and sisters out there who have been making these decisions to be an extractive society, I think it's time to call them out and call them by their names. Who are they? And to place them in front of the world, because in the world, the native peoples of every country are standing together and offering prayers and asking for a help to each other so that we can voice this all around the world. So with that, I'm going to offer just a small prayer, and I'm going to offer all of the the 7 sacred rights of our people. I want to be able to call on them. So I'm going to start my prayer using that. Ishtamna Gitchmaya Gashla Lina Unichipi. Gashla Hetchel Uni Daku Unichila Kilina. Wokik Suya Eaho Hetchel. Wakavoichua. Norigu Harmony be. Ho Inipi. Ho Humblechea be. Ho Uiwan Wachipi. Ho Hungaria be. Ho Ishnati Awichalawam be. Hona Trapa Bahuyeapi. Holina Gashlan. Nithoka Bahina Gina Betuluta we mere chalena hechel. Ake ye churchi hechel unchimokaka. Na manikilana na Nokriwa el uniampi. Lena Gashlan Kichiosh Unkichiokambie. Ichi Dukteni Isam Uyana Lena Ungoni Chaka Bungoki Hipshni. Na Ishtuani Isam Unkila Bungoki Hipshni. Nie Ichela Taku Buhani Trawa. Nie Ichela Gashla Lena. Waprekilel unkundi chaka. Ite usta sopi ate wakantraka. Ohechel waprekilel shka trangashla hechel charge chate. Ohechel uchi woopre lena charge chate. Ohechel trangashla iya. Hona mniwichoni trangashla lena. Nariwa unia bilag. Otaktona trangashla nitrokablena ahimgana kapilena iteshna hechel. He o awa jake aki he o hena. Uchi jaki no hena hechi tukte. O miti taki e ki tungashla tuktel oyampi. Mukasi tomania, mini wanta kwakata hecha tungashla isha oyampi. Lena woyate ki isha ni cheni chapi na taku chimpi. Oyo konchi muka hechese. El wocheke o garapi. Wea oshiba heun chapi. Na witasha ikchaka heun chapi. Oyo kontungashla le wapikile. Betuluta we mia chalena hoya chiche lena hechitukte. Ho itakuye oyasi. Thank you.
Thank you, Grandmother Loretta. And I just want to remind everyone too that at the end of our session today, we've set aside quite a few moments so we can uh, gather questions that you may have to offer up at the fire and let the grandmothers take and hold in their hearts and share back with you. So holding that in your minds then and your hearts, I move now to introduce Grandma Luisah Teish. Thank you, Grandma, for joining us today for the wisdom I'm sure you're about to water us all by.
I want to begin by expressing gratitude for everyone here, and especially to Grandmother Ivy, who's holding the sacred fire for us today. I always begin by saying Alafia, which asks that we have good health and be at peace with our neighbors. That is especially important at this time when so many of us are falling at the feet of COVID-19, and that our world leaders are begging for war. I will begin by addressing the Lord of the forest. Ogunde arere, ile bobo logua, ogunwa nile, ogunwa lona, ile bobo logua Ogunde arere, ile bobo logua, ogua nile, ogua lona, ile bobo logua. I invite the spirit of the forest to enter the house. I invite the spirit of the forest to open the road so that we may be connected with the forest. At this time, I want to praise the holy Odu, Osa Ogunda, which reminds us of what is being said as the wind whispers through the trees. Odu, Ogbe, Osa. The liar dies and dies in the forest of fire. The wicked dies and dies on a sun-scorched savanna. But the righteous dies and dies peacefully, leaning back against a water jar decorated with jewels. Orunmila, the priest of the world, interpreted the teachings of Ifa for the people of the world, a world where there was no peace, a world where there was no harmony. They were advised to sacrifice, but only the righteous remained to practice sacrifice. So speak the truth, do justice, be kind, and do not do evil. Truth travels on a narrow path, but the wicked wander on a wide road. Speak truth, do justice and speak truth, for one who is righteous is supported by the divine. As Grandmother Loretta has reinforced the message that was given to us by the video, it is time for all of us everywhere on the planet to recognize our connection. It is time, especially here in the United States, to call our politicians to account for the things that they are doing, for refusing to recognize our relationship to the earth, for refusing to honor the wisdom of indigenous people. We, each and every one of us, must decide to speak the truth. We must decide to stand up for justice, for the earth, and for each other, so that we may live our lives in such a way that our deaths are seen leaning against a decorated jug of cool water, Let not the spirits of the forest be angry with us because of mistreatment. Let not the wind be upset at our behavior. And when we burn down the rainforest, we offend the goddess of the wind. When that happens, our lungs are attacked. When our conduct is wrong, when we destroy the forest, hunger falls upon the world. Let us who are here in this call decide to be the righteous ones so that the spirits of the wind and the spirits of the forest will visit us in our homes, will walk with us down the road. Ogunde arere, ile bobo lokuwa, oguwa nile, oguwa lona, ile bobo lokuwa e, ogunde arere, ile bobo lokuwa, oguwa nile, Ogualona, ile bobo loguae. May the great spirit of the forest be pleased with us all. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you, Grandma Luisah Teish, for your wisdom and for your heart. It always inspires me. And for all the time that you're giving to so many right now, so that we might be good vehicles in this moment of prayer on this planet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now it's my great pleasure to turn to Grandmother at the fire, Grandmother Ivy Smith. And thank you for being there. Some in Australia, where I know that you come from that beautiful land of the Maori, but you also live in Australia, so they call you Auntie there probably because you're the grandma. So I just want to honor that culture and thank you for making the time and for taking care of Grandpa because he is listening and Mother Earth has got her arms all around him, I see. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Please introduce yourself.
Tēnā koe from Aotearoa, Nise Bulavanaka from Fiji, Talofa Lava from Samoa, Yahweh from Australia where my beautiful children and grandchildren reside. And right now I'm actually in the Netherlands, here, been in service, bridging, connecting. So a universal greeting for them is, well, they say dui and oi. So that's a universal greeting from here in respect to honour the past and present ancestors from the Netherlands. I just want everyone to take a minute while I go over to Grandfather Fire to also remember, as Grandma just said, the word gratitude. And I'm going to be giving a tobacco offering to remember all of our grandfathers, our fathers, our brothers, partners, who protect us and who have been standing with us in this time. So I just want everyone to take a minute while I go over to the fire to give this offering of gratitude. So first and foremost, thank you for everyone that made this happen. Thank you for the grandmothers and thank you for everyone that has taken action to be here today. Without everyone working together now in this time, we won't be able to accomplish what we need to. I just want everyone to acknowledge also what Mother Earth is needing right now, the water of life. And I want us to put our left hand over our belly buttons, our right hand over our hearts, and keep our eyes open for this one, because what we need today, when I said prayer this morning and sat with the fire before we open up this beautiful gathering, was it's time to open our eyes and be in action. To open our eyes and wake up to what's really happening. And it's about the word responsibility that we saw through the documentary, the word responsibility, responsibility. So while I say this prayer, I want us to remember something that we all just experienced within this lockdown, of how much Mother Earth, the nature and the elements loved us. It cleansed and gave us purity back. And we also experienced this also when we were all in the sacred womb. When we came from the Creator and came through the star systems, and we landed in our beautiful mother, all our mother's wombs under her heart, like shooting stars, we all were surrounded by the water of life. And right now we need to open our eyes and wake up and clean up and save and cleanse all what gives us life. Without water, we wouldn't have life. Water is the blood of our beautiful Mother Earth that gives us everything in abundance for us to survive. So with our hand over our puku, our tummy, over our belly button, it's to remember that umbilical cord that connected us with Mother. Our heart, through this prayer, I want it to reach from our hearts to all the other hearts in the world, to all the hearts of nature, the trees, the ocean, the beings, to say we are listening, as grandmother said, Grandmother Jyoti, we are listening. And it's not about remembering, it's actually about going back into relationship with ourselves first to be able to move forward. So I'm going to say a prayer in language from home. And I want us to connect in through our tummies and remember the water of life that surrounded us, like Mother Earth is surrounding us with everything that gives us life. And when I say this prayer, I really want you to go within to feel the responsibility that each individual has to do today, for tomorrow, for our future. E te riki I whakamoe me te ana mātou ki a koe, mana ki tanga. E homai koe mātou, mana ki te tonu mātou, e rote e mātou mahi. Koe hat mātou riki, mo ake ake. Blessings, blessings, blessings. I want to use the word remembrance, responsibility, and accountability. To remember what we need to survive. Like I said, everything that Mother Earth needs. So we need to look after that. Self-responsibility first. Without self-responsibility, with the understanding and education, how are you meant to be able to look after yourself, to be able to look after Mother Earth? So self-responsibility is very important. How you conduct yourself at home. So the responsibility at home. What are you doing? What are you eating? How are you doing your waste? Have you got a garden? And if not, then look into the responsibility within community. Working together with community. So first it's about yourself, within your home, what's going on in your own backyard, supporting, reaching out and asking, being aware of projects within your community that are helping look after Mother Earth, that are educating, that are needing support, volunteering and being in service. And when the community comes together, if you haven't got the resources at home, work together within the community and share resources. It's about not being alone now, sharing what we all have to have the solutions that we're immediately needing today. Then branch out and have a look what's happening within your cities. The social media is one platform, but being there in person brings responsibility back into it and to show people that you are being accountable. Then the cities branch out and then be a part of the decision making of your nation. And when it ripples through, you as an individual, you within your own backyard, before you can go and speak, have a look what's happening in your own backyard, in your home, in your communities, in your cities, and then as a nation, and then as a whole human race. And if you're needing help, there are so many people out there that will help. The last word, accountability, it's about those people that hold wisdom, those people that have knowledge. It's about bridging that and sharing it, like what we're doing today. Us grandmothers, the grandfathers, and other people on the front line have been so busy within this lockdown. It's been a blessing with bridging technology to be able to share the information. We have to be accountable. Whoever holds the torches of the inner flames have to share and light all the other flames that have been put out, that have been stolen, that are asleep. We have to light all the flames with grandfather fire, educate and bring awareness, because if we don't understand ourselves, how are we meant to act? Share and bridge information. It's time and it's important, and we need to do this now for our future, for our children and our grandchildren, and to save our beautiful planet that is paradise. Thank you.
Thank you, Grandma Ivy, for your wisdom. And that you're there again. I thank you for watching after Grandpa. I know he's listening to us now as we're about to open the door for others that have joined us around this circle of the fire. Questions that they may be holding in their hearts. If you just put it in the chat room, then we want to gather those questions. And while you're trying to see what wants to come down and to come to the fire, I just want to also thank all the grandmothers that are here with me today, because we're all part of the Mother Earth Delegation of United Indigenous Nations, which was coming to meet in Stockholm in March to really sit down after being given a mandate from the Mother Earth herself to put us in motion. And then the band came on travel, and she pushed us up into the world stage very quickly and lit us up. We come from 7 different countries. We are women and men that carry traditional ways, and we have a few of the children of those lines that sit with us as well, so that we pay attention to all of how life circle moves itself through. So I want to invite you on Saturday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. The grandfathers and the men delegates are going to be bringing their gift of prayer and message to you, what the Mother Earth is saying could be most helpful for us to do as a global community together, because we're in this together for sure. And I'm thankful for World of Wisdom and Niels, who started contacting me and called us all in here to sit by the fire with you. So Audrey, I know you were going to help me see the questions. So have you found one that wants to come to the grandmothers and the fire?
It's so from Annette, it says, how can we, the little siblings, rediscover Mother Nature, reconnect with her? One of the questions that's being asked.
So grandmothers, some of you are called to come forward with that question is, how can the little siblings rediscover Mother Nature?
Can I come in with 2, Grandma?
Please.
Again, self-responsibility. If you've got children, I've got 3 grandchildren, you have to take them into nature. You have to put them back into relationship with nature. And then within the systems, the education system has to open the door now. It's very common sense of what's happened, that we need to re-educate within nature. So that's the only way to connect them back in, is to actually go and teach in nature.
Is the person asking about little siblings, are you speaking specifically of children, or are you speaking of children and adults as people who are just beginning to or wanting to rediscover Mother Nature?
I think both. That's what I had in my head. Has been recently was posed the question of, like, do you know the plants in your backyard?
Right.
Do you know the nearest river? Do you know which direction it faces? And I don't.
Well, as a storyteller, I have found that telling stories and putting those stories in the context of the reality that we're facing informs everybody, not only on an intellectual, but on an emotional level. As children, we learn stories about wildlife, we make the characters in the forest come alive. We need to restate those stories and connect them to a reverence for nature, and connect that reverence to healing actions. I think that's a good avenue to take.
So the next question from Emma, it says, how can we feel safe expressing our truth and dare to shine as our very own selves? So living in our authentic selves.
Thank you for the question. One of the first things of teachings for our young people is that community is the first tool of survival. And within that context, we're talking about ritualizing, ceremonializing all of the things that we walk with during our lifetime, every day. And some of those things have to deal with understanding where we are coming from. And I think Native peoples all over this world, we are nature worshipers, first and foremost. But more than that, we're spiritual nature worshipers. And so we make those treks to go and have vision quest where you're removed from all of the everyday trappings that we live in. You're able to sit with yourself and to have your own thoughts and not be frightened away from thinking, oh, I've got to go do this and I've got to go do that. These are times that we are relearning how to be with ourselves again with this pandemic that's going on. And I'm sorry to say that it's caused many, many people to have negative upheavals just because they can't find time to, or they can't find it in themselves to sit quietly for a time being. As Native people, we live like this. We thrive in a community setting, and so today we're living just the way we live every day. We have time for ceremony, we have time for prayer, we light our fires. I want to say thank you, special thank you to Sister Ivy for lighting the fire for us today. We have activities going on in our communities at any given time. Families get together at any given time, and we know who's ill and who's not in our own communities. And so we're able to gather ourselves to do the rituals. We have set time aside in each of those months because we're taught from the beginning that you do this at this time. This is we're in the summer solstice right now, so we're in a really powerful time of nurturing, growing, harvesting, foraging, those things that are going to benefit us in the wintertime. So I would say to you, reach out to your communities. If you were to do that, then you're going to find that there are others that are sharing the same thoughts that you're having in your own community.
Thank you, grandmother sister Loretta. You know, I was reflecting on your question too, and I'm realizing, you know, that some of what's happening is grandmother Jinky, who's Aboriginal in Australia, when the ban on travel happened, she immediately received from Spirit that this was a moment when we needed to sit, all of us sit in our 0 points. And we need to light our sacred fire in our 0 points so that we would connect that sacred fire with ourselves first and our family next and our communities following that fire in that 0 point activated our own ancestral lines. Because when the earth put the Mother Earth Delegation into motion, she brought a mandate with her. She said it is important right now that everyone declares their sovereignty, that we really embrace who we are in our own authentic space. And then she said, I must have the original caretakers of my territories restored. She needs her sacred sites to open again so she can breathe, so her esoteric body can be restored, so she can move not only herself, but all of us through this transformational time that we're in and into the ascended motion she's in. You know, it spoke a little bit in the video to bring us back to understanding that the Mother Earth has been through 5 extinctions before. As she moves and evolves and grows, she goes through 26,000 year cycle with each of those moments. And we are right now at the end of that 26,000 year cycle, and she's moving now into her ascension. My grandmother, Rita Blumenstein, who's Yupik up in the cold country of Alaska, she has stories from up there that talk about that there was a time when the ravens were white. And that there would come a time when we would start to move into this new doorway we're talking about right here today, that we're praying with right here today. She said when that happens, those black birds that were changed to black at that moment when we left the garden would start to turn back to white as we return to it. And they've already started to do that. And there are other species that are marking that doorway too. Last weekend was the white lions of Africa were roaring us awake during a time when heaven and earth were lined up, when they said the doorway of heaven and earth was wide open and possibility was flowing. That's what I mean, the richness of that thread that was unbroken, that came through such challenging times. They stand with us now with those kinds of prophecies that told us of this moment that we would be standing in and how to serve the earth as she makes her movement. It's a choice point. She'll be fine. It is our human species that must really pay attention right now. And we must embrace truth with compassion and heart instead of fear and division and judgment and confusion. If we can allow our hearts to hear the truth of what's in front of us and embrace us, then we will be able to stay in the present moment that's required for this moment before moving to the next one. And if we move ourselves that way, we will be following the instruction of Mother Earth. We'll be hearing the prophecies that are here now, not only to prepare us, but now to instruct us.
Mm-hmm.
Have everything we need through that instruction. Can we humble ourselves enough? That is the great question.
Right.
Can we understand we are a part of something so much bigger than any one of us?
Mm-hmm.
That is the question.
That's the question.
It's up for us to decide, but us grannies, the way they told me a long time ago, they said when the grandmother's heart is not on the ground, then there is still hope. And I can tell you that you're getting a witness a little bit because our grandmother heart are definitely not on the ground. We're on fire and we're lit up and we're ready to serve. And we invite you to walk the good road with us.
Mm.
So we have time for one more question.
So there's no question, but Christine says, thank you for this information. This is hard for me. There is such a big change in my life that it scares me. You give me hope.
Oh, good, because we're birthing something. Something's birthing us. It's happening all at the same time.
Grandma, can I? Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Go ahead, Grandma Ivy.
Sorry. I just wanted to explain to people that might be wondering what happened to the fire. It brings up a really good word of distractions. So the authorities just came and someone obviously called someone. It is in we are in a fire ban, so we had to give and take. But it's beautiful when these things happen. It's not to get distracted because someone came and we had to put that out. But that's okay because we've done it peacefully and respectfully. Because when distractions come in, especially when people are in consciousness, people are understanding more, things can get harder, but that doesn't mean you're in a wrong place. It means carry on and be stronger. Because when we had to put the fire out, I just got a candle.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't have a candle, rub your hands together and feel that heat. That's grandfather fire. And don't forget the inner flame inside. And for the chap that asked, he mentioned he doesn't know what plants are what and within his area. This comes back to the word self-responsibility. Ask your grandparents, ask your elders, ask friends who have still got their grandparents around. They have the answers. The DNA is within them, within your parents, and within you. People look into different parts of the world. It's all in your backyards, and if you don't know, do some homework, ask around, and you'll get the answers.
Thank you, Grandma Ivy. And that's what it takes to be a guardian,
Mm-hmm.
in this moment, because we're a guardian, then we have to stay very mindful. We have to stay wide awake. And when things happen, like what just happened with this grandpa fire, my grandparents, the ones that raised me up in these ways, they said there's always a way to take care of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to stay awake, and then these protocols of the earth come to help you so that line of fire that was listening to us isn't broken.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in the old ways, when the fire would go down like that, they would say it was going underground so it could come up in each and every one of us. And so I'm going to hold that that's what just happened today.
Mm-hmm.
That grandmothers can come underground to wherever you're living and light your hearts up, light your spirit up, and keep it bright here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask Grandmother Loretta and Luisah if you can give us a couple of words to leave because our time is now closing, and I just want to, Grandma Ivy, thank you. Grandma Loretta? You're muted.
I want to just remind you about Thanksgiving. Don't forget to say Thanksgiving at the end of your prayers, every prayer you make. And the word is Wopila, 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 Wopila. Thank you. Wopila.
Thank you. Opila. Grandmother Luisah.
Yes. I'm noticing in the chat that there are conversations about fear. And so I want to invoke courage. Courage is the ability to move forward even in the face of fear. That's what courage is. And courage is needed in times of great transformation. The sacrifice that was spoken of earlier in the Odu is we must be willing to sacrifice the old self, the old way of doing. We must be willing to face the mystery of what is unfolding. And that has to be done with courage, with love, with wisdom, and with compassion. This message continues to be reinforced. And so I say that whenever you face a situation where you feel fearful, call upon the courage of the ancestors and call upon the powers of nature and allow that courage to reside in your heart and move forward.
Thank you, Grandma Luisah. I just want to close this circle of fire with you today, and so I'm going to ask Grandma Ivy, you'll take care of everything as I say these last words. Just want to say, grandmother, grandfather, all those that are gathered here, those seen and unseen, Star Nation, and all of the family of this great Mother Earth, the ones that travel with her, the sun, the moon, the planets, the cosmos themselves, the seven sisters. Thank you for hearing our prayer today as we lay it at your feet. Thank you for waking us so we could come and sit in this circle that represents points of light all over your planet. People that are waking and people are ready to wake up more, to embrace that courage, to still the mind and open the heart so that the ancestors can guide us through these times, that we might be the prayer we've been praying for.
Sure.
It is moment now for the human beingness of ourselves to show up. I give thanks to World of Wisdom. I give thanks to Neil and all of his team that have worked so diligently to pull this together, and for all of you that have come to hold a community and birth something that is waking to stand in service to this creation and to Mother Earth as she brings us into the light. I give gratitude and great thanks. I give thanks, I give thanks, I give thanks. Have a very beautiful day. And remember, you are loved. Mwah. Bye.